I was thinking about the idea of change, but our focus, or I should say, my focus on others. When I had altercations with people, when there was a situation with which I was upset, I found so often that I would look to the other for change. If there was an issue with a relationship, that person is the one who needed to change. If there was a larger issue, it was somebody else that needed to change or something else that needed to change. And I found it interesting eventually when I realized I was always focusing on the other person or the other thing as needing to change. Which is interesting because we have no control over other people or other things. It is indeed a futile and largely fruitless endeavor to demand that someone else change because we are unhappy with a situation. Now, that is not to say that there are not times when it is important to use others and to demand that others change, especially when it comes to larger issues such as politics or social policy. But on the day-to-day level, why look to others to change when I am upset with the situation? And eventually I realized that I was the one who had to change. If I was upset with something, then the onus is on me to change, not someone else because I thought they were doing things wrong or not following a certain protocol. They were clearly going to do what they were going to do, so for me to demand them to change rarely ever worked. And eventually I realized that I needed to accept those things and change myself. For example, if there was something in the relationship about something as mundane as when the laundry was done, if I wanted it done at a different time or a different way, I could ask my partner to effectuate that, which is not entirely unreasonable in the realm of relationships. But if for whatever reason my partner failed to do so, to get angry and demand that they really alter their course to meet my needs is silly. I should just take care of it myself. I should change my routine if I want the laundry to be done a certain way. There's a subset of issues in terms of relationships and working with each other. And in a relationship, there should be loving kindness and an amenability to changing to help the other. But I use that just as an example of when it doesn't change. When you want something changed, ultimately the onus is on you, just as the onus was on me. And that's something to remember. That's a flip side, in a sense, to the idea of being a victim. And oh, if only my supervisor at work, if only they would do X or Y, then things would be so much better. I'm a victim to their behavior. When we are, in that sense, victims to everything that we cannot control, we simply need to accept it and effectuate the change that we can, which is so often in ourselves. If the situation is unpleasant, if you do not like working with that supervisor, get another one or make plans to find another job. The change has to come from you or the acceptance. So, That sounds in my mind a little harsh, but I think that that was how I found it to be at the end of the day. Demanding others to change just did little good. So think about that for yourself. I hope that you are well. I hope that you have a day full of excitement, and I recommend, as well, not as always, but again, to perhaps take a look at the work of Vince Staples or the Tao Te Ching. I love you.